Alex, are you sending the signal already? You already sent the signal?
Alex is gonna look at you.
You have everything.
Right there. Get my recorder off last time. That's the last time I seen you. Yeah. Awesome fun times out there. Agarrar el micrófono. Sorry, Tom.
¿Estás conectado?
Sí.
No, estás conectado por teléfono.
No, yo no tengo. They didn't give me a PO line, dude. I don't have a PO line, so I didn't bother calling.
Can you see me over there? Can you see me? Can you see me? ¿Me escuchan? Yes, sir. Yes. Let's do it. Yes. Soy Antonio. I can hear you. Let's go.
Don't you know who I am?
I'm asking for a check like 10 minutes ago. And we're on the newscast.
1 minute out.
Can't believe this.
Tony's an icon. An icon and a legend.
Can you guys hear me over here? Can somebody hear me?
Stand by. Tony. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello. Hello, 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 hello. Can anybody hear me? Hello, hello. Hello, 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 hello. Hello. Hello, 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 hello. They're not answering. No me están llamando en el chicharo. Me dio un teléfono y no me están hablando. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Touching this? You never listened to it?
Can't believe this. I cannot believe this. And I hope you're kidding me right now.
Hello. Tony's going crazy, dude. You gotta talk to him. You're next, Tony. Stand by, Tony.
Buenas tardes, Anuar. Estoy aquí precisamente frente al apartamentos Esperanza en la cuadra 11.400 de la calle Potranco en el oeste de la ciudad de San Antonio. Lo que aparentemente tenemos aquí en este momento, aunque esto no es confirmado oficialmente todavía por el sheriff Salazar, fue un caso de violencia doméstica. Todo parece indicar que esta llamada entró aproximadamente hace una hora común, precisamente un caso de violencia doméstica en el cual una persona estaba armada, y lo que sabemos hasta el momento es que posiblemente el hombre, el esposo, atacó con un cuchillo a la mujer. Yo cuando entré a este complejo de apartamentos pude ver a un oficial del departamento del sheriff del condado de Bejar con un niño muy pequeño en sus brazos. Aparentemente esta pareja, cuando llegaron las autoridades, pudieron recoger a este niño, sacarlo inmediatamente de un posible peligro, porque en su momento se pensaba que el hombre estaba atrincherado en el interior de su apartamento donde había herido a la mujer. Hay ambulancias, hay en este momento mucha actividad por parte de oficiales del sheriff. Estamos esperando al sheriff precisamente para que nos comunique de manera oficial cuántas son las víctimas y en qué estado se encuentran. Hay especulaciones sobre lo que pudo haber pasado adentro, pero no le vamos a hablar nosotros en este momento con especulaciones. Simplemente lo que sabemos en este momento es que hubo un altercado, hubo una persona aparentemente apuñalada, posiblemente hay más de dos lesionados, y esto es lo que sabemos en este momento, Anuar. Efectivamente, el sheriff ya llegó, ya está aquí, pero sin embargo se encuentra allá donde está la escena. Todos los medios de comunicación, obviamente, en cuanto se dieron cuenta de nuestra presencia, nos sacaron de aquí. Entendemos el trabajo de ellos, entendemos el trabajo de todas las personas involucradas en la situación de esta manera, y pues salimos de este lugar. No se permite el acceso adentro. Vi algunas personas adentro preocupadas porque decían que algo de esta naturaleza jamás había pasado en estos apartamentos, pero bueno, en este caso se está investigando la posibilidad de que haya más de una persona lesionada, y muy posiblemente, Anuar, estas lesiones son serias y pueden tal vez en un momento a poner en peligro la vida de cuando menos las dos personas involucradas, hablando del esposo y la mujer. Gracias, Anuar.
Good job, Tony.
That was like a slick catch. I was like, okay, Tony. You know, he said, I got this watch. He's like, let me just climb under here.
I'm asking you,
Right.
who's there? Some guy. I mean, I was, you know.
They just need something.
So, and you, that's good. You get Maggie's up there. That's a big loss. No, ya ira.
No, I just don't want it in the mic.
It's gonna pick up all the shit of the mic. No, mira, ya están afuera, güey.
So I have no information.
That's clear, güey.
And I said, I understand. Access to anybody. So at least they know that.
No, but then they're doing it as private sound.
Yeah, that's what I'm bro, you have to ask me. You're serious? I already Texas.
I've been a sheriff, yeah. Here comes the sheriff. He's in his car, but he's coming.
So I guess after the sound, we're gonna move across the street.
We're here?
Yeah, but we can't
Say
see
your numbers. You tell him Antonio Guillen said he's here.
I hope crash. Yeah, but if you're gonna be shooting, I want you on the same angle as me. What is this? Four three two one 4321 4343 4321 4321. Is that your brother?
Why didn't you tell me about this?
He's this teenager. Hey, where the like?
Oh yeah, you've never seen me. How long have you been there? I think it's been like at least a year since then. Se va a caer. Se va a caer.
No tienen un sandbag. There's a sandbag.
I have one.
Este güey. Este se va a caer. Este se va a caer.
Good afternoon. Is everybody ready?
Yes, I guess.
Okay. Well, we're out here at the scene of a what appears to be murder-suicide resulting from a domestic violence situation. Initially, we got the call about 3 o'clock this afternoon, and a male called indicating that he had just murdered a female inside the apartment. Told our dispatcher that he had just committed a murder and was then going to kill himself. He indicated to the dispatcher that there was a baby inside the house as well that was unharmed. Our dispatcher did a great job of getting deputies dispatched while simultaneously keeping the suspect on the phone, trying to talk him down, knowing full well what he had already communicated to her. Deputies happened to be right across the street and made the call. Within about 3 minutes, they were there on scene, and the suspect was still on the phone with the dispatcher. In fact, when the deputies arrived, initially the door was locked when deputies arrived on scene, but they heard the lock turn where it was obvious that somebody within the apartment was letting them in. They came in, they found the suspect still with a knife in his hand, a bloody knife in his hand. They ordered him to the ground. They The two deputies entered the residence and then tried to engage the suspect from several feet away, being that he was holding a very large military-type knife. They could also see a baby sitting in a high chair very close to them as well. The two deputies began engaging with that suspect, trying to talk him down, when a third deputy came into the residence and was able to grab the baby out of the high chair and get her out, thankfully unharmed. A fourth deputy came in just as the suspect began stabbing himself with that large knife. That fourth deputy attempted to deploy a taser on the suspect, but unfortunately that taser was unsuccessful. The suspect did succeed in stabbing himself at least one time in the upper body and one time in the neck. Deputies were able to get him disarmed soon thereafter, and tried to administer first aid, but they were unsuccessful. Once they got the scene secured, they did observe that the young woman, the initial victim, appeared to be deceased as a result of her stab wounds, and the suspect died soon thereafter as well due to his injuries. Again, thankfully the little girl was unharmed. The two victims, or the victim and suspect in the case, the two decedents, Asian male, Asian female, appearing to be in their mid-30s, both of them. The little girl, probably about 6 to 7 month old little girl, thankfully unharmed. I don't know what her relationship is to the two decedents. At this point, it appears that she's the daughter of the two, but we just don't know for certain. But again, thankfully at this point she is unharmed. Esta tarde nosotros recibimos una llamada de un sospechoso que nos contó por teléfono que él había matado a una mujer aquí en el apartamento y que él se intentaba cometer suicidio. Nuestra dispatcher logró hablar con el sospechoso y convencerlo que se quedara en el teléfono mientras que los oficiales llegaron. Dos oficiales llegaron aproximadamente 3 minutos después de la llamada. Ellos lograron entrar al apartamento. Se aparenta que el sospechoso desatrancó la puerta y los dejó entrar. Ya cuando ellos entraron, vieron al sospechoso que estaba armado con una navaja grande. Y ellos empezaron a darle órdenes al sospechoso. Ellos también vieron que había una bebita dentro del apartamento también. Un tercer oficial que llegó, él logró sacar la bebita de su silla y la sacó del apartamento sin heridas a la niña, afortunadamente. Entre los otros dos oficiales empezaron a tratar de hablar con el sospechoso que soltara el cuchillo. El sospechoso se empezó a apuñalar él solo, y otro oficial que llegó trató de tumbar al sospechoso con pistola electrónica, pero no tuvo éxito, sino que el sospechoso tuvo éxito él en darse 2 apuñalazos, una vez en el pecho y una vez en el pescuezo. Entre los 3 oficiales intentaron de darle primeros auxilios al sospechoso, pero no tuvieron éxito. El sospechoso falleció a causa de sus heridas, y desafortunadamente también encontraron a la mujer también fallecida de sus heridas, varias heridas graves que ella sufrió antes de que llegaron los oficiales. Pero en estos momentos, afortunadamente, la niña sobrevivió todo se aparenta sin ver mucho, y obviamente sin heridas también.
¿Qué edades tienen más o menos las personas?
Las personas son personas asiáticas, están en sus 30s.
Everything happened inside the apartment?
Yes, sir. Everything was there inside the apartment. From what we're able to gather at this point, it appears that the female was dead prior to our arrival. The suspect indicated that, and all indications are that she had died prior to our arrival. It appears to be the same weapon used. Again, between the deputies and the EMS, there was some pretty valiant life-saving efforts on everybody's parts, but unfortunately they didn't have much success with trying to save these folks in spite of their best efforts.
Do you know how many times the woman was stabbed?
I can just say multiple at this point. I don't know for sure, but there's some pretty grave injuries. I mean, among the worst I've ever seen.
What happens to the child now?
Well, at this point, we need to determine what her relationship was to the people. I mean, at this point, we're obviously assuming that at least one of them was her parent. So at this point, CPS has been notified. We've got some folks on scene that we understand may be related to the little girl and or at least one of the victims. So hopefully, well, our hope is that the little girl will probably be reunited with some family members tonight. But again, that'll be up to CPS.
Sheriff, ¿qué tan importante, o sea, lo que usted está explicando en ese momento es cómo reaccionaron sus oficiales? Estaban ante una persona que ya había matado a un ser humano, luego estaba armado con un cuchillo grande, aparentemente militar. Obviamente, la situación era mucho peligro para sus oficiales.
Sí, no, ellos ya entrando al apartamento, ellos pudieron ver el cuerpo de la mujer aproximadamente 10 pies cerca de ellos, y luego ya estaban viendo el sospechoso que él estaba armado con un cuchillo grande. Él no estaba separado de ellos por más que 6 pies. Entonces eso ya se sabe en nuestra profesión, eso ya se sabe que una persona que intenta apuñalar a un oficial con un cuchillo así, 6 pies es nada. Ellos pueden acercarse tan pronto así y pueden apuñalar a un oficial. Afortunadamente eso no pasó. Y pues desafortunadamente el sospechoso también falleció a causa de sus heridas, pero afortunadamente la niña no fue herida y afortunadamente nuestros oficiales no sufrieron heridas.
¿Qué me puede decir precisamente? Porque ha habido muchos casos, Sheriff, donde por menos, y creo que este es un esfuerzo de ustedes, de no dispararle a matar en el momento en que el hombre está con el cuchillo. Ha habido muchos casos y han sido criticados duramente algunos de sus oficiales en otros incidentes donde se dice no tenía nada, le dispararon. Ahora, en este caso en particular, estamos ante un hombre que mató a una persona, está armado y sus oficiales prefirieron tirarle primero con un taser. Eso muestra tal vez que hay otra mentalidad.
Bueno, nosotros pedimos mucho a nuestros oficiales. Pedimos que ellos hagan una decisión en segundos, que uno ya con tiempo, nosotros podemos tomar nuestro tiempo para poder averiguar si ellos hicieron la decisión mejor en esos segundos. Y pues eso es algo que nosotros pedimos. Nosotros ponemos nuestros oficiales en esa posición y pues se toca de escoger los oficiales que puedan con este trabajo, que puedan con tantas condiciones mentales y físicas, y luego ya entrenarlos bien para que hagan esas decisiones. A couple of things that he asked me to touch on was that when the deputies arrived, when they initially made entry to the apartment, they could see the murder victim probably about no more than 10 feet away from them. She was appearing dead already. They were trying to negotiate with a suspect that was no more than 6 feet away from them with a very large edged weapon. And you know, the point that I made with the Spanish-speaking media was that we ask a lot of our deputies, we ask a lot of our first responders to make a split decision on whether to use deadly force, whether to go to a taser, whether to try to put themselves in harm's way to save the little girl, of course. And we ask them to make split-second decisions that, you know, it's real easy for us to sit back and either criticize or praise or appraise the situation with calm reflection days, weeks, months, years after the incident, that they had a split second to act upon. And so it just goes to show the stressful conditions that we ask our deputies, all of our first responders to work under. But again, that's why it's so important to be selective of who actually puts on this uniform and to make sure that they're trained up to the point that they need to be.
¿El hombre fue agresivo con tus oficiales?
No, afortunadamente no se aparenta que él fue agresivo. El intento de él fue matarse, a cometer suicidio. Afortunadamente, la dispatcher tuvo éxito en hablar con él mientras que los oficiales llegaron para asegurar que la bebita no fue herida.
So your deputies got to see himself get stabbed?
The deputies were there trying to intervene by use of a taser, but yes, he did stab himself several times right there in full view of the deputies. They tried very hard to stop him from doing that. In fact, my understanding is that one of the deputies, the one that tried to deploy the taser, may be having a tough time of it. Understandably so. While we try to tell our troops, don't blame yourself in a situation like this. You didn't cause this situation. Still, it's human nature.
What happens to the officers then?
So right now, at this point, we've got 5 deputies that because this is being handled as a custodial death, in accordance with our policies and procedures, they'll actually be placed out at least 5 days administrative leave. We need to, during that 5 days, we need to make sure that they decompress, make sure that they understand fully the magnitude of the situation, obviously, and that they're able to deal with it. That's why we've got a department psychologist that'll be talking to them in the next couple of days. And of course, we need that psychologist will spend quite a bit of time letting them know that, look, the roller coaster of emotions that you're going to be going through over the course of the next days, weeks, months is normal. You're not losing your mind. It's part of what we go through. And so that psychologist, this is when they really earn their money in situations like this.
¿Me puedes decir, por ejemplo, qué tan traumático es esto para una persona que a lo mejor nunca ha visto esto, alguien que se esté matando?
Bueno, esto es traumático. Obviamente ellos vieron a esta mujer que ya obviamente estaba muerta a causa de sus heridas. Ellos intentaron de salvar al sospechoso, no tuvieron éxito, y ahora ya sé que cuando menos uno de esos oficiales está teniendo problemas con lo que vio. Y pues obviamente ahora tenemos que ponerlos de fuera del trabajo por cuando menos 5 días. Ellos en esos días van a hablar con nuestra psicóloga para que ella también les prepare a ellos, prepararse qué pueden esperar con su bienestar mental de ellos, para asegurar que ellos sepan que las emociones que ellos van a sentir, que es algo normal en esta situación.
Sheriff,
You said that
years of service, are you able to release the years of service?
There's so many deputies involved, I wouldn't even be able to tell you each one. I can tell you one of the ones that's there is out of a very junior class that may have just gotten out on their own, and I know that the other ones, I know that we've got some veterans there that were over 5 years, so it's the whole spread of years of service.
you complimented the dispatcher in this situation for keeping the man on the phone, but also for dispatching deputies. Talk to me about the training that goes into those dispatchers in this kind of situation.
Look, we just recently, there's been a shift in train of thought in really calling dispatchers first responders. That's a title to me. That's something that we've known for years and years and years, decades, that these dispatchers go through everything that we go through. They are absolutely first responders. They're there with us. They hear us hollering on the radio at all hours of the night. You know, they go from sheer boredom that this job can 99% of our job is sheer boredom. And then in a split second, it goes to sheer terror, and they're with us. And you can imagine hearing somebody that's a coworker that you got an emotional attachment to this person, and all of a sudden here they are, they're screaming for help in the middle of the night. You don't know where they are. So I can just imagine that as emotional as it is for us out here as first responders in uniform, think about it for them. They're at a console 20 miles away, and they're just trying to decide upon what's the best course of action. How do I get this person help as quickly as possible? It's just a very emotional situation for them. So this dispatcher, and I'll be honest, I don't know if the dispatcher today was a male or female, but I think they did a great job in making sure that they understood, the dispatcher understood what that suspect's intent was, what he was claiming to have already done, but then realizing, well, hang on a second, I've got a little girl in that apartment that this suspect is telling me he's going to kill himself, obviously a very volatile situation, and the dispatcher did their best to keep him talking, keep him on the phone, and pleaded with him, look, whatever it is you're going to do, don't do it until the deputies get there so that we can think about this little girl. That's heroism at its finest right there. And I'm just proud of the way all my folks reacted today.
Can you release it at least an age, a very young age, 2 years old?
The baby? She's about 6 or 7 months old.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when the deputies arrived, she was actually in her high chair, and she was watching a cartoon on a laptop. that my understanding is she had no clue what was going on. Thankfully, when they came in and they engaged the suspect, it was actually, although it was maybe 2 feet away from her, it was behind her. So she was engaged with what was going on the laptop. She didn't really see what was going on back here. But thankfully, the deputies were able to, the third deputy responding did a great job jumping into action, getting her unstrapped out of that high chair and getting her out of the apartment really quick.
¿Qué estaba haciendo la niña cuando entró?
Cuando los oficiales llegaron, ella estaba sentada en su asiento y ella estaba viendo monos en una computadora, laptop, y ella parece que ella ni sabía lo que estaba pasando. Los oficiales estaban separados de ella aproximadamente 2 pies, pero estaban atrás de ella, entonces ojalá y ella no vio lo que estaba pasando. Ella estaba entretenida con lo que estaba pasando en la computadora.
So the suspect allowed the deputies to go in to get the child, not the high chair.
He did. You know, I certainly wouldn't attempt to give this man any praise. After all, it appears that he did murder this young woman in cold blood. If there's any saving grace that can be found from this is he had the presence of mind to listen to what the dispatcher was asking him to do. He held off on what it was that he was going to do. And although in my estimation, he could have done a whole bunch of other things, you know, but at least he let the deputies in to get the baby out to safety. I'm thankful for that, at least.
And the woman is not his wife. We don't know if his wife.
I don't know. I don't know if they were married or not. I do know that they were not on the lease for this apartment, so it may be some sort of a sublease. It appears they were living here, but I don't think they were actually the tenants.
And you don't have any calls coming to that apartment?
No, I was just told I don't think we've got a domestic violence history here at this apartment. Okay, thank you.